Medusa's Child, also known as Project Medusa, is abysmally long. I do believe that the TV film originally aired in 2 parts, though by all means correct me if I'm wrong about that, but even still, the story is incredibly slow, it's all over the place, it could have been interesting, but there are just too many elements that I found to be really slow and really boring. It's about a bomb on a plane and obviously the threats that come with it, and there's a little bit more information. There's a good backstory to it. I won't go into the specifics and spoil things just in case you do decide to watch it, and there are some interesting motivations. So the bare bones of it are quite fascinating, but everything on top of that is just not very well handled, at least in terms of the actual narrative. Other aspects are fine, I'll talk about those in a moment, but the story could have been half the length. In fact, I believe should have been half the length. It would have been a much tighter narrative. I think it would have been easier to have an emotional response to things that were happening, because basically all I felt was boredom because it's so slow. And yes, there are of course bits here and there that are quite interesting, but because it takes such a long time to get to them, I was just really fed up of the whole experience. On the plus side, the characters are well written, they're believable. As I said, we have some interesting motivations and things, the performances are very good, so I didn't mind spending time getting to know the characters, and the camera work is good, the locations work well. Some scenes, as I said, here and there are okay, in fact pretty decent, but because it's quite an agonising experience to get to that point, I don't really recommend it. I don't think the good bits are so good that it's worth sitting through the tremendously long film. Do I recommend it? No, but if there's a reason why you want to watch this, for example, if you're a fan of somebody in the cast, I watched this for Laurie Loughlin, then by all means give it a go. We also have Vincent Spano, Gail O'Grady, Kevin Dillon, and various others. The film is directed by Larry Shaw, and it's written by Ellen Weston, based on the book by John Nance. I haven't read the book. I don't know if they have basically just lifted the entire story from the book and not really cut anything out, and maybe that's why there's an issue with pacing. Usually when you're going to adapt a book for a film, things will be left out. It's unfortunate, especially if you're a fan of the book. You don't actually want to see things taken out of the story, but in order to present an interesting, gripping, compelling film with a good pacing, generally speaking, you can't include every single aspect that's in the novel. Novels are supposed to allow you to go deeper into the story, whereas it's not usually the case with films. So I'm not saying that's exactly what's happened, but it's a possibility. If you've read it, by all means, let me know what you think. But as I said, unless there is a very specific reason why you want to watch it, I don't really recommend Medusa's Child.